The year 1958 marked a watershed moment in the burgeoning field of generative linguistics, witnessing the collaborative effort of Halle and Noam Chomsky coalesce into a groundbreaking, yet ultimately unpublished, manuscript titled The Sound Pattern of English. This work, predating its formerly published namesake by a decade, laid the conceptual groundwork for a revolutionary approach to phonology, shifting its focus from descriptive inventories of sounds to the rule-governed processes governing their distribution and alteration. To fully appreciate the significance of this proto-sound pattern of English, one must consider the prevailing linguistic paradigms of the time and the intellectual currents that shaped Halle and Chomsky's thinking. Prior to the mid-20th century, structuralist linguistics, particularly as espoused by Leonard Bloomfield and his followers, dominated the American linguistic landscape. This approach emphasized meticulous documentation of linguistic data, focusing on identifying phonemes, morphemes, and their distributional patterns within particular languages. The structuralists largely eschewed abstract theoretical constructs, favoring empirical observation and rigorous descriptive analysis. Phonology, under this paradigm, was primarily concerned with establishing the phonemic inventory of a language, cataloguing the contrastive sound units that distinguish meaning. For example, analyzing the sounds P and B in English to demonstrate how they represent separate phonemes owing to their ability to distinguish words like pat. However, this descriptive approach faced certain limitations. It struggled to capture the systematic relationships between sounds and the underlying regularities that governed their behavior. It lacked a means of expressing generalizations about phonological alternations, such as the variations in vowel pronunciation depending on the surrounding consonants or syllabic structure. The structuralist framework also struggled to account for the intuitive knowledge that native speakers possessed about their language, their ability to produce and understand novel utterances, and their judgments of grammaticality. Noam Chomsky, initially trained in mathematics and philosophy, brought a unique perspective to linguistics. Influenced by the formal systems of logic and mathematics, he sought to develop a more abstract and generative approach to language, one that could explicitly define the rules that generated all and only the grammatical sentences of a language. This generative approach contrasted sharply with the descriptive emphasis of structuralism. Maurice Halle, a brilliant scholar of Slavic languages and a talented mathematician, shared Chomsky's dissatisfaction with the limitations of structuralist phonology. He recognized the need for a more principled and explanatory framework that could capture the underlying regularities governing sound patterns. His mathematical background proved invaluable in formalizing phonological rules and developing computational models of linguistic processes. The collaboration between Halle and Chomsky proved especially fruitful. Chomsky, with his focus on syntactic structures and formal systems, provided the theoretical framework, while Halle, with his expertise in phonetics, phonology, mathematical formalization, contributed the empirical grounding and analytical. The 1958 manuscript of The Sound Pattern of English represented a radical departure from the prevailing structuralist paradigm. It proposed that phonological analysis should move beyond merely cataloguing phonemes and instead focus on uncovering the underlying rules that govern their distribution and alteration. These rules, expressed in a formal notation, specified the conditions under which sounds changed, disappeared, or were inserted. A central concept introduced in the manuscript was that of underlying representations. The idea was that speakers possess a mental lexicon containing abstract representations of morphemes, and that phonological rules operate on these underlying representations to derive the phonetic forms that are actually pronounced. This distinction between underlying and surface forms allowed for a more elegant and economical account of phonological alternations. Imagine, for example, the English words electric and electricity. The stress placement differs, and the vowel in the second syllable of electric undergoes reduction. Halle and Chomsky would argue that both words derive from a single underlying morpheme, represented abstractly, to which different stress rules apply based on the morphological context. These stress rules in turn trigger vowel reduction in unstressed syllables. The manuscript also introduced the concept of distinctive features, a system for representing sounds in terms of their articulatory and acoustic properties, rather than treating phonemes as indivisible units. Halle and Chomsky proposed that they are composed of a bundle of features, such as voicing, nasality, and place of articulation. This feature-based representation allowed for a more refined and insightful analysis of phonological processes. For example, a rule could be formulated to describe how voiceless stops become aspirated at the beginning of stressed syllables, by referring to the features characterizing voiceless stops, such as voiceless and stop, rather than listing each individual stop phoneme. The 1958 manuscript outlined a system of ordered rules that operate sequentially on underlying representations. transforming them into surface phonetic forms. The ordering of these rules was crucial, as the output of one rule could serve as the input to another. This system of ordered rules provided a powerful mechanism for capturing complex phonological processes. While the 1958 manuscript remained unpublished, it circulated widely among linguists, exerting a profound influence on the development of generative phonology. It sparked intense debate and inspired numerous researchers to adopt and refine the Halle-Chomsky approach. The ideas presented in the manuscript were further elaborated and formalized in subsequent publications, culminating in the publication of the fully realized The Sound Pattern of English in 1960. The impact of the sound pattern of English on the field of linguistics can scarcely be overstated. It revolutionized phonology, transforming it from a descriptive discipline into a formal, generative science. It provided a framework for analyzing sound patterns in a wide range of languages and inspired a generation of linguists to explore the underlying regularities governing linguistic structure. Of course, the sound pattern of English was not without its critics. Some linguists questioned the psychological reality of underlying representations, arguing that they were too abstract and divorced from actual speech production and perception. Others challenged the specific rules and analyses proposed in the book, arguing that they were overly complex or lacked empirical support. The manuscript's reliance on a binary feature system drew specific criticism. This binary system forced some to create unnatural classifications devoid of articulatory or acoustic merit. Despite these critiques, the sound pattern of English remains a landmark achievement in the history of linguistics. It established a new paradigm for phonological research and profoundly influenced the development of linguistic theory. It provided a framework for understanding the intricate relationship between sound and meaning and paved the way for subsequent advances in phonology, morphology, and syntax. The influence of the 1958 manuscript, and subsequently the published version of The Sound Pattern of English, extends beyond the realm of linguistics. The formal systems and computational models developed by Halle and Chomsky have found applications in speech recognition, speech synthesis, and language processing. The concept of generative rules has also influenced the development of computer programming languages and artificial intelligence. The legacy of the 1958 manuscript endures in contemporary phonological research. While many aspects of the original theory have been refined or superseded, the fundamental principles of generative phonology continue to guide the field. The focus on underlying representations, distinctive features, and rule-governed processes remain central to understanding the sound patterns of human language. The work of Halle and Chomsky serves as a testament to the power of formalization and abstraction in scientific inquiry. It demonstrated how a rigorous, mathematically informed approach can unlock the secrets of human language and provide a deeper understanding of the cognitive processes that underlie our ability to communicate. The initial, unpublished work stands as a seminal moment, a quiet revolution whose echoes continue to resonate throughout the landscape of modern linguistics.